Hello and welcome to Season 2 of the Teacher's Journey podcast. I'm your host, Brian Costello, here to talk with some incredible educators and hear the stories that have made them who they are today. Welcome back to the Teacher's Journey. I'm your host, Brian Costello, and we're up for part 2 of my interview with Goyette, who is not only a Google certified innovator and an incredible innovation leader in Central Valley, California, as well as a board member for CVQ. She's also the creator of Site Leaders Connect, which is a great way to build community for administrators around the world. So this part of the interview, we get into how Kat became an administrator and moved into the current role she has now and all the things she's learned since then, and more about Site Leaders Connect and how that project came into being. So enjoy this second part of the interview and reach out and connect with Kat and get a chance to learn more from her because she's an amazing, amazing innovator and educator. So how did you end up moving out of those roles and into, a broader role?
Sure.
Which you have now. So you're working, at a county level, all over Central Valley, with lots and lots of schools and lots of teachers, and not nearly as many kids. You say you miss those relationships a bit, but how did you end up moving into that role?
Sure. So I was moving toward, higher administration roles at the time. That was my goal. I was a summer school principal for 3 weeks. It was only a 3-week program, so it's not like they canned me after 3 weeks.
I was summer school principal for 3 weeks. It was an 8-week program, but they just hated it so much. After 3 weeks, they had to get rid of me.
I love to use that phrase in sessions when I'm with either principals or teachers. It doesn't matter because I always get a laugh. And then I have to explain, no, it was by choice, and it was only a 3-week program.
Totally by design.
Yes, exactly. But and I loved that as well. I was actually in a tough spot in my personal life, in that I was at the time a single mother, and trying to I was had a lot of legal expenses and was trying to I needed to make a move, right? Not that it's always about finances, but that's a reality sometimes.
But sometimes it is. I mean, sometimes it is, and sometimes it has to be.
Sure. And so for me, I'm looking to move up. I'm not, there aren't really opportunities opening up for principalships. And I see this job opening at the county level for educational technology consultant, essentially. And I didn't even know what that was. I had no idea what that person would do. I read the job description, and I knew that I love, ever since I started teaching, I've really enjoyed integrating technology into the classroom. I had an amazing experience teaching 6th grade because half the year was nearly no student devices. Like, seriously, they would borrow mine. I brought in my old awful laptop from home and stuff. And then half the year was one-to-one iPads. And I saw a huge difference. So I was really an advocate for bridging the digital divide and finding ways to use technology to empower kids, not just to put them on programs, and allowing them to create with them and such. So I thought, oh, okay, well, it looks like you get to work with teachers about this, whatever. I'll just apply, and I'll probably not get it, but I'll give my all and we'll just see. So because I didn't think I would get it, and I didn't even really know what it was, I was totally not nervous at the interview, right?
Yeah, that helps.
It really was it's very helpful. So, and it was an intense interview process. I went through and did the interview, and then if you went and you had to give like a 10-minute presentation, as if there was a district in front of you and you were meeting with them, and then like district administration. And then you had to, if you got the final interview, which they would tell you after lunch, and then you would have a certain amount of time to prepare like a 25-minute presentation you would give to teachers, so to speak, And so, but you didn't know if you were going to do that or not. And they didn't give it to you until after lunch. And you had to come back like 2 hours later. So it was really intense. But again, like, I was like, whatever. I don't even know what this job is. So I just, kind of went for it and wasn't nervous. And I remember I was with my superintendent at the time at the district I was at. Was extreme. I'd consider him a mentor. He's now at the State Board of Education in the state of California, and his name's Matt Navo, and he was one of my. Had written me a letter of recommendation, and I saw him. I was going to visit another coach. We were going to do some walkthroughs and such, and he said, "Oh, how did it all go?" And I said, "I don't know. I guess okay." He says, I have a good feeling. I think you're going to get it. And I was like, what? That's weird. Well, here's a reference. So, they call references only if they're wanting to hire someone. So he already knew.
They're only going to call your references if you're like either first or second or,
Yep. So about 20 minutes later, I was going to get lunch on my way back to the site and I got the call. And, so yeah, I got the job and it's the most amazing fit for me. It has led to so many opportunities that I didn't even know existed. And, I was as a teacher and even as an administrator, I wasn't aware of a lot of things. I wasn't aware of CUE, which is, the Computer Using Educators organization that now is a huge part of my life. I mean, I did get married at Fall Q conference on stage.
I watched that live stream. It was beautiful.
It was really cool. It was EdTech themed.
Sadly, I wasn't able to be with you guys, but I was at least able to watch the whole thing, which was fun.
Super cool.
It was.
Right. So at the time, like before this job, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about ISTE. I'd never heard of ISTE, the International Society for Technology and Education, for those that aren't aware. I had just gotten on Twitter, like just barely. I wasn't in any Facebook groups for education. Like I just was not connected and didn't realize what was out there. And so it was really exciting because once I got the position, I decided like, oh, I better like up my game here. Right. So immediately, like I get Google certified level 1 and 2, which was interesting because at my district, a lot of the apps were turned off. So I didn't even know they were like in existence. So I learned by taking the test. That's a whole nother thing about blocking apps, but anyway, even for teachers, but whatever, we won't get into that. So I was like, well, I gotta like get my feet wet in this, like presenting things. I'm gonna be presenting to teachers and doing all this. So I applied for every opportunity to present at an EdTech conference, like even local ones that I could find everywhere, all over the state of California. And I remember my son saying, Mom, like, what if you get into all of them? And I said, oh, son, come on. That's not going to happen. Don't be ridiculous. Well, I did get into almost every single one. It was quite amazing. And so I did a lot of work for free, driving all over the state that first year. But it was an incredible experience. I met a lot of people. I really grew that PLN, my personal learning network. I met my now husband in this work, which was amazing. And so it really.
That guy.
What now?
That guy. Whew.
He was on the podcast before I was.
He was. Adam was actually my second guest.
Oh, cool.
Second or third. Like he's one of the first ones. So the quality on that one, his end is perfectly fine. My end is probably quite a bit lower. But
well, you could have him on again, right? Or maybe you could have both of us.
I could. I actually thought about that one day. I was like, I should do like the Valentine's Day special. And maybe we can have that. We can tell like the love story of.
That's actually a good idea. We're game. We're down. I'll speak for Adam. He'll do it too.
I know he will. Yeah.
He would. Yeah. So like I did all this, and then so that was that first year. And, but I did miss, like I did some in-class coaching, but I missed being in classrooms with teachers and kids. And so I really, had to build some trust with some administrators that, cause that's not normal. Like it's not normal for them to have someone. And I did this when I was, in my prior job. So I was like, what's the big deal? Like, can't I just walk in your classrooms, like on your campus, and like coach teachers on the spot? Like, what do you mean you've never seen that done before? I don't understand. I did it all the time, like literally every day. So
how are you doing it when they're not with kids in the clique? Yeah, I get you want to do it before kids are there, but like you also want to be there when the kids are there, because then you can see how it's going and you can help them make adjustments, and yeah, it's necessary. It
is, but what we find, and Adam and I both found this as tech coaches, is that most tech coaches, and honestly most content coaches as well, they do a lot of planning with teachers, watching maybe co-teaching, maybe modeling first, then so they're in classrooms during that part, and then they debrief, and then they do the process all over again. Well, what we do as tech coaches, which is different, is we don't plan first. I mean, if there's a planning day, we want to be a part of it, but we don't plan first. We just are comfortable like walking in and seeing what a teacher's doing, seeing what they're teaching, either leaving a Post-it with some feedback and a suggestion, or like a link to a video or something, or just on the spot, when there's a moment, hey, I like what you're doing. Have you considered, throwing up a Flipgrid so the kids can have a conversation about this? I haven't heard of Flipgrid. Oh, I can show it to you real quick. It'll take like 2 minutes. Okay. And just doing it right on the spot. And that's not something that the administrators I was working with were used to. So I built a little trust that first year, got them to buy in. And now that's like pretty much all I do. I don't do as many PDs. I do in classroom walkthrough coaching.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I like that a lot because most administrators aren't super excited about like on the spot random things popping up and like changing things like without notice. But at the same time, like seeing how, I think that's one of those things that people don't really put enough stock into, is seeing how easy it is to be like, oh, here's a new thing or here's a thing that will work and I can do it right now.
Right.
Not like I need to plan for 3 weeks on how I'm going to figure out how to incorporate this. I need to go to 4 hours of professional development to learn how to use Flipgrid. No, it takes 5 seconds. Right. Like it's not crazy. And so, but so many people won't just do that. So to have someone there and say, hey, we can do this right now. Here's the thing.
And what they love about it too, I worked with some very hesitant teachers for the past 2 years. And what they love about it is they say, oh, I was so uncomfortable with technology, but I don't worry, because when you show you show me and the kids how to use a tool, then when you're gone, the kids remind me. I don't have to know.
Yeah, that's a lot of times the kids figure stuff out, and you're like I had kids. I don't know. This is just a random example. I have kids who are programming, and they had they did this dance contest with their robots, and one of the kids was like, "Can I put custom-made images on the screen for my robots?" I'm like, "Probably."
Right, so exactly.
Let's look it up. So I found a YouTube video that explains how to do it, and I was like, "Here's the YouTube video. You guys go ahead and do it." And then he's like, "Oh yeah." And then like 10 minutes later he goes, "Here's how you do it. You just do this and this." And I'm like, that's pretty easy. I had never thought to do that. And awesome. So I'm just like, here's the thing. You guys can do it and show me how you figured it out when you're done.
Absolutely.
So it's great. And all kinds of amazing things happening since you've taken this position. Lots of really cool things. Obviously, you got to go to Toronto and be a part of that.
Right. Great team, by the way.
Probably the best innovator academy that's ever existed.
You don't have to say probably. Like, we all know it's true. At least
it really is. I mean, I don't know. Maybe someday there'll be another academy where the coaches are just so good that
yes.
I'm just throwing that out there.
That would be nice.
But yeah, it and then not long after that, you built a conference, kind of out of thin air, which is a really, really awesome event. Like it's really unique and fun, and also lots of learning that takes place there.
Thank you.
Which is Tech Rodeo again. So if you don't know about Tech Rodeo, or you don't know how amazing the Fresno City, it's Yosemite International Airport is. You really need to go to Tech Rodeo, even if it's just to hang out at the Yosemite International Airport, because it is remarkable.
There are giant sequoias in the airport.
Sequoia, I think it is, right? Is there just one?
Oh no, there's more than one, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, there's a
not big enough for more than one. I'm not quite sure.
The sequoia is actually, the airport is actually inside of a sequoia. But the whole area is great. And one of the things I love is you and Adam, and this was something you guys were just getting started when I visited Tech Rodeo a couple of years ago, and now it's kind of exploded. Is the CV Tech Talk and kind of connecting Central Valley, California educators. And one of the things I love about it is there are so many awesome people in Central Valley. And like, full disclosure, 3 years ago, I wasn't sure. If you told me Central Valley, I wouldn't even have been able to point to it on a map of California, let alone know more than one or two people who maybe came from there. And a lot of the times I knew people who came from there. I had no idea they were from Central Valley. And I realized there's New Jersey is not that big a place. So there's a lot of really good people in New Jersey, and they're all kind of located near each other. And while it takes 3 hours to get to some of them, it's still like, it's not that big a place. So when you realize how many people are out there in Central Valley and how, like, it kind of makes me excited for the idea that there's a way to bring pockets together.
Right.
Like all these pockets of really great people that are like randomly located around the country. It's possible to kind of bring them together. I think that's one of the things that you and Adam together have done with this community. It's really cool. So why did you guys decide it? I mean, is that really the motivator, or are you just like, let's do something fun?
Great question. So that's a part of my journey as well, because what happened was when I first got the job at the county, I reached out to all the tech leads, tech coaches in the area, Adam being one of them, and said, hey, I'm introducing myself. I'm new in this position. I want to know how I can support you. What are your needs? What are you looking for from our department? I'd love to meet with you. So Adam emails back and says, sure, come meet me at my school site. I'll be getting my room ready. And so I say, okay, so I'm, and it was kind of a funny thing because I am, and by the way, I had never actually, I had a near meeting with him at Q, like the year prior, but we never actually officially met. And then I met, I knew Adam's mom because I worked with her in my prior role. And she would always talk about her granddaughters and stuff. And she's like, oh, Katherine, congratulations on the job. You might be working with my son. And I said, who's your son? And she says, Adam Juarez. And I said, from Cutler Rossi. And I knew of him because of Twitter. I was like, oh, that guy's doing great stuff with his kids. Like, that's amazing. Yeah, maybe I will. That's cool. So yeah, I went out there and we were talking, it ended up being like a 2-hour meeting. Like we were there for forever, just talking like ed tech stuff. And it was 100% professional because like I'm on the job and I don't know what this guy's situation is. Right. So it was, but what happened was, we were talking about like, man, what could we do to really bring people together? Because what we felt was, I said, the county is so large and there's so many great things happening in all these different places. And yet we don't really talk to each other unless we're at a conference. And so we were kind of talking about that. And that's where the idea of, Adam's actually the one that had the idea of the Twitter chat. And so if you look at our sticker or at the background of our sticker and also of all of the CV Tech Talk tweets that go out, the images is a like satellite shot of the whole valley. Because we really wanted to do two things. We wanted to bring people together to connect them and learn from each other, but we also wanted to showcase all the amazing things happening here. And so it was a twofold reason. And It started off pretty strong. And now we have like regular international people internationally, like globally, that join the chat. So it's been really cool to see. And yeah, Central Valley is just like this amazing. We've got some amazing innovators and leaders here. So we're very blessed.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's just really cool to see how the community was built and has grown over time. It started out with like a handful of people hanging out and talking and sharing some things, and little by little, like now there's tons of people, and I meet every time I have time to get there. There's new people. There's always someone new that I'd never met before, and a lot of times they're actually from the Central Valley area, which is really amazing. So yeah, it's really cool how you built the community and developed it, and brought together a lot of the educators there. So yeah, speaking of bringing together educators, I do want to give you a chance to talk about one more thing, which is your innovator project, which is your thing that you've been building, your Site Leaders Connect, which is more of the same of bringing people together. But take a couple minutes just to talk to people what that is and why how they can use it, what they can do with it, and how it can help them.
Sure. So my idea stemmed from the fact, for Site Leaders Connect, stemmed from the fact that when I was an administrator, I didn't have a PLC at my building, right? I didn't have a professional learning community that I could just access at all times. Teachers, a lot of times, if there's 3 third grade teachers, they kind of talk, they bounce ideas off of each other's and such, and they're right next door, right? They can go vent to each other. I mean, that's a human thing. But as an administrator, administrators often feel very alone. And so my idea was to connect them together so that they could learn from each other. So we started that. We have it's over like 270 people on the mailing list from across the globe, educational leaders from all different levels. And there's a searchable database now. It's at www.siteleadersconnect.org. And there's a searchable database so people can check out, look by expertise and find people's Twitter handles and emails and website address. I know, Brian, I believe you are on that database as well. Oh, yeah. So definitely check that out. And then what we've done, I did some empathy interviews and tried to find out, like, what do you guys want? What do you, as the community, as the network, what are you looking for? And what they told me was, we just want to hear stories from each other. We want nuggets of wisdom from each other, but it can't be too long. We don't want long webinars. We don't want just something quick. So what we have now is what's called Insight interviews. So I interview educational leaders for about 15 to 20 minutes. And they're all posted on the website. They're on the YouTube playlist that I have. And they're, of course, they come out on the emails as well. So it's been really exciting it's exciting when I go somewhere and someone mentions it. Oh yeah, I saw that Site Leaders Connect thing. That's really cool. Oh, here's a sticker. So it's been exciting.
Right on the forehead now.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's because of my passion for connecting educators together that has spurred both CV Tech Talk and Site Leaders Connect. And so that's been exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is a great project and a great way to connect people. And like I said, just building communities of people to help them get together and share and learn from each other, and not feel alone in that job, because teaching and being administrator and all those things can be very isolating, and often are very isolating. So it's absolutely fantastic. Love the stuff that you're doing. Love the things that you've created over the past couple of years. There's just so many really cool things that are now available that have come out of both the communities that you've built and also the ideas that you've had and shared with people. So thank you for that. People who are coming to be, at ISTE or other conferences coming up in the near future, you're heading out to Q, I'm sure you'll be obviously going to see them there. But for people who want to learn more about what you do and some of the things you talked about, how would they get connected with you?
Sure. So the first place I would direct people to is my website. I was challenged to blog weekly. So you're going to learn a lot about my thoughts on and philosophies on education at my website. So www.wonderexplorelearn.com, or if you go to katherinegoyette.com, it takes you there too. But I just felt like that was a little weird to name the whole thing that. So I like wonderexplorelearn.com because in order for us to learn, we first want to be curious. So we want to wonder, and then we want to allow ourselves to explore resources. And that is after those two pieces, then we learn. So that's where the name came from. I'm also a big Alice in Wonderland fan, so I'm sure that had a part to do with it as well, as you know from my Ignite talk. So check it out there, and you'll see all my Twitter contact information, Facebook, my email is on there. And I would love to connect I love connecting with educators all the time. And I love too, when you make connections. How many times did I contacted you, Brian, you helped me edit a short story that I submitted. And Brian also was on a video interview at one of the workshops that I gave about your global audience project. So once you connect with people, it's just exciting to learn from them. So check it out, wonderexplorelearn.com.
Wonderexplorelearn.com, the CV Tech Talk Twitter challenge and Facebook group, all kinds of great things going on there at the Central Valley, and you, along with Adam, are at the center of almost all of it. So thank you again for joining us and sharing so much of your story. And I appreciate the time and your amazing insight on all those things that you're doing. So thanks again, and we'll catch everybody next time here on The Teacher's Journey.